On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we recap OU's complete domination of Alabama. We also recap a wild Week 13 of college football, and we give you our winners and losers of the weekend. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right, our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful, yes, it's beautiful, a beautiful Sunday, November 24th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful, award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options in the month of November, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards, and I can't stop smiling. How much fun was that, man? Oh my gosh.
It's the most fun I've had calling a game in a long, long time. That was it was awesome. And I know we fumbled early and we'll get into all of that stuff, but it had a pretty good feeling early on. The vibe check passed the muster early on, and I don't know, just a lot of fun. The crowd, how about the crowd showing out? That was
Crowd
awesome.
was incredible. Got to meet a lot of you on the field afterwards. Appreciate you. Appreciate you listening or watching the podcast. Appreciate you, each and every one of you. I think, am I shocked that OU won the game? No, I'm not shocked. This is college football. Am I very surprised at how they won the game? Yeah. I did not foresee OU completely bullying and embarrassing Alabama at the line of scrimmage for 4 straight quarters. Did not see that coming. Hand up.
Yep.
But am I damn glad it happened? Yeah. Did it bring me an incredible amount of joy? No doubt. I mean, what a night, Ted. Let's start with one of, if not the best defensive performance we've seen in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
That was what'd you see from OU's defense against Bama's offense?
They were fantastic. I mean, there was a couple of plays. They hit a couple of third downs early. They had the mesh route where we, in man-to-man where we lost our guy a little bit. We're in a trail position. They hit us down the middle of the field on one where we had like a inverted cover three. It's like a mix between Tampa and cover three. The Mike Backer plays the middle third, and the two safeties starting to and come down and play the hooks. And it's tough on Kobe McKenzie to try and get there and make that play. Hook players can help him out a little bit more. Outside of that, not a whole lot of stuff Alabama was able to really get into. Just before we start talking about individual players, just talking generally about the game. And, we've been talking about this quite a bit. And, one of the reasons the defense has played really well in games and then just kind of faded a little bit as the game has gone on. And, I've talked a lot about like one of the reasons our statistics and the way we just kind of look as a defense doesn't scream elite is because we haven't been able to play with a lead and a multiple score lead specifically late. And you look at the way this game unfolded, did a great job against the run, kept them bottled up. Milroe, his numbers, he ended up with 15 carries for 7 yards. and we just had one sack on him. So that's not a bunch of sack numbers that are just piled up there and chewing away at his numbers. Did a really good job defending the run. But to me, the difference is whenever you get a lead, and he was under constant pressure, was never comfortable in the pocket. And I just thought some of these things were interesting. Time of possession, 34-11 to 25-49. Almost 10 minutes more time of possession. You go back a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, rather, our last game against Missouri, it's the exact opposite. It's flipped. Okay. They had the ball 34 and a half minutes. Okay. So we're on the field a lot longer. We defended because of the way our offense played, running the ball, time of possession. We defended 9 drives. The average is 12. All right. 9 drives, 57 plays. Go back 2 weeks ago against Missouri. We defended 12 drives and 72 plays. Okay. And a lot of that has to do with the way the offense played. So whenever we got a lead, we built a lead, we were able to pin our ears back. And I went back and watched the TV copy as well. And R. Mason Thomas just chewing them up. Trace Ford chewing them up. The interior guys, doing a really good job getting push up front. But they're throwing everything they can at R. Mason Thomas. They're trying to block him with the tight end. They're trying to block him with the tackle. It ain't happening because we have a lead, and he's out there in a staggered stance, and he is flying off the football, rushing the passer. Late in games, typically, we're playing from behind, and teams are running it. They're staying balanced. So it's way more difficult. Another thing, whenever you play with a lead, you force teams into mistakes. Ryan Williams on that punt return fields the ball on like the 1 or 2 yard line. Why does that happen? It happens because they're down 24-3. And whenever he takes the field, he's saying, I got to make something happen. If I get a chance, I have to make something happen. And it forces him into a mistake that he otherwise wouldn't have made. If they've got a lead, he's waving fair catch. He's standing up there on the 12-yard line and letting the ball go over his head, right? But with the lead, the whole dynamic of a football game changes. And for the first time in a long time, complementary football played right into the defense's hands, don't you think?
There's no doubt about it. And I think the defense clearly from the jump came to play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from Stutzman smoking Milroe on the first play of the game,
yep,
just setting the tone. Like the defense was ready to play. But just being down on the sideline, you could tell the defense started to really believe early with what the offense was showing the ability to do when it came to running the football. And it was clear, and this is something we've talked about a lot, Ted. They came into the game with a plan to win the football game.
That's right.
Not to make it look pretty, not to rack up the most stats, not to score the most points as possible. They came in with a game plan that gave them the best chance to go and win the game.
Right.
And I think both sides of the ball being able to see this success early in the game created a serious sense of belief. There were more energy on that sideline early in that game than I can remember any game I've really done at home. And I think it was a product of belief in the plan. The crowd was great. There was energy in the stadium. And I think it only took them a drive or two to be like, hey, these guys aren't – this isn't an NFL team. Like, we can beat these guys.
I feel like whenever they weathered the storm, right, we go down, we turn it over, right, and then offense moves the ball again. We miss a trick play touchdown and then miss the field goal. And it's like, oh, boy, we've seen this game already, pretty much every SEC matchup that we've had. but they weathered that storm and put it behind them. And from that point on, it's like off we go. And they didn't look back and didn't make many mistakes after that. Forced 3 turnovers, and I mean forced them. They weren't handed to you. Great play by Eli Bowen on the first one. It's film study. He knows exactly what he's getting. He knows the formation. Soon as he sees the receiver turn to block, he spikes it, comes right downfield. Milroe throws it right to him. Next one, empty. There's a automatic adjustment in empty, and Kip Lewis knows his assignment. He's a flat player. He's buzzing all the way out. He gets a good drop, good angle on his drop, gets his eyes back on the quarterback. He's going right underneath the number 1 receiver. Milroe throws it to him, picks it, goes and scores with it. Third turnover.
Milroe misses the slide tackle as well.
Misses the very poor effort at a tackle. The third turnover, it's all pressure. Pass rush. R. Mason Thomas is absolutely destroying that offensive line and tight end group. Great pass rush, great dip, beats a tight end one-on-one in Milroe's face, flutters. Woody Washington gets it and lays on the field, extended time, just one last chance. I'm going to just take it all in. That was awesome. And then we had also a turnover on downs, which, was a penalty, lost it down on 4th down. Shouldn't have been a penalty, but hey, we were due a break, right? So
it was one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know. He just flat out missed it.
For anyone, they called illegal touching. By the way, what a play by Ryan Williams. That was a touchdown.
Great play, and it's unbelievable coverage by Eli Bowen.
Yeah, just
he's like in the pocket, reaching up through the pocket as he makes the catch, twirling out of bounds. Crazy.
I've seen some people talk about, hey, there wasn't a wide receiver on the left, so that made the tackle. That's not a rule in college football.
Nope.
That's a rule in the NFL where you have to have a wide receiver on each side. Not a rule in college football. It was a horrible call. Alabama should have had a touchdown right there. But the bottom line is, with the way that OU was kicking their ass at the line of scrimmage all night, it didn't matter.
Nope.
It wouldn't have mattered. It would have been 24-10. The final score would have been 24-10 instead of 24-3.
Yep. I agree.
And yes, is it frustrating for an Alabama fan? Absolutely. But that doesn't change the fact that you got whooped for 4 quarters. That's just a fact. So, right. Yeah, it was a terrible call. Should have been a touchdown, of course. But that play in particular does not change the outcome of the football game.
Yep. One of the best quarterbacks in the country, 11 of 26 for 164 yards in the air, a 15.4 QBR. I don't know how they get the QBR formula, but I know 15.4 is not good. 15 carries for just the 7 yards. Had the 3 turnovers or 3 interceptions. Not good by him. And I know I don't want to steal your thunder on this, but the Woody Washington interception happened with 6:53 in the 4th quarter.
Tell him, Ted. Tell him about it. Let him know.
Defense did not come back on the field. That is how you close out a football game. Hang on to it for 7 minutes.
The best way to describe that is erotic.
Yep. Just incredible stuff. Held Alabama, who's one of the better offenses in the conference, to just the 3 points. First time in a long time for that. Just all around good stuff. Anything else just generally before we talked about some individual guys?
Just extremely proud of that defense, man.
Yeah.
They made that's a good offense. Jalen Milroe is a good player. They haven't looked like that. Like, even the games they lost, it didn't look like that.
Nope.
No one beats Alabama like this.
Nope. It was awesome.
And that was just a completely dominant performance from the defense. It's not like the offense scored 40.
Nope.
It's they completely dictated the game. It was so much fun to watch. That group was just flying around. They were several levels more physical than Alabama.
Oh yeah. Yep. 100%. Guys who played well. Defensive line, we'll start there. Big Dejon Terry, couple of tackles for loss, immovable on the inside. Hurts his knee, comes back and plays in the football game after he hobbled off. Ethan Downs was great on the edge, held point, made a couple of big plays in the backfield. Had a tackle for loss on the quarterback on a really nice play. Held the edge really good. Was super physical. Their tackles just got punched in the mouth all day long. It was great. Jaden Jackson, typical performance by him. Not giving anything on the interior, fighting, scrapping, clawing every single down. Same thing with Grayson Halton. Same thing with Dominic Williams. That the core, and I put Ethan Downs in there, but mainly talking about those core interior defensive line guys, just great all day long, not getting blown off the football, assignment sound. You know, the one where DJ Terry, he's working a slant to the outside and just works his tail to get all the way across face, and Milroe tries to bounce it. There's nowhere to go. He gets a tackle for loss for it. It was excellent. Edge guys, talked about Ethan Downs. Our Mason Thomas was awesome. Had the big sack, a bunch of effort plays. He almost jarred a fumble loose on one of Milroe's scrambles. He loops all the way back around, comes back, chops at the ball. Was a good effort play there. The pressure he had on Milroe that forced the interception, we talked about that. Just several pressures. Fourth quarter, Milroe hardly had a drop back pass where he wasn't affected some way by the pass rush. Caden Woolard didn't play a ton of snaps, but tough, physical, assignment sound, dislocated his kneecap, no big deal, comes back and is ready to go in the football game, just tough as nails. Trace Ford, high effort, played fast, was really good in the rush game. Wasn't credited with a sack, but I think it was a sack. It was a drop back pass. Milroe pulled it down to run, got to the outside to the perimeter, and was still looking downfield and got tackled for a 2-yard loss. He had an awesome pressure where he beats a tight end and a running back just fighting his ass off. It's just, there's not a move that you have for that. You just have to twist, get skinny, fight, rip, claw over the top, and fights through and gets the pressure and affects a pass. He also had a really good rush that forced a holding call. So I thought he did really good. Linebackers. Obviously, Kip Lewis had the pick 6, which, that's 2 on the season. Great job by him. First time linebackers had 2 since Jordan Evans did it. He was really good out there. More effort from him like you typically see flying all over the field. I thought Kobe McKenzie had just a tough, physical, in-the-box type of football game. Stats aren't going to overwhelm you, but I thought he did a really good job on the inside. And kind of same thing with Stutzman. Not a huge statistical day for him, but was in total control of the football game. Set the tone, had a couple of big hits on Milroe. The one on the first play of the game was really nice. And you could see a bunch of times we would line up in a look. Alabama would come to the line, see what we're in, go to the sideline, get their call, change the play, and we would change also to match their changing of plays. And it happens really fast. And Stutzman's moving defensive linemen around, turn around, making sure everyone gets the call. Just another excellent football game from Stutzman, like we always expect. Um, Secondary guys, Eli Bowen, incredible. Had the interception. We talked about that where he jumped that route, knew what to expect. Had an awesome individual solo leg tackle on Milroe over on their sideline where he came darting up. If he doesn't make that play, Milroe's got some room to run. Um, had a really nice PBU over on their sideline on Williams. And like we said, even the coverage whenever Williams makes that incredible fourth down touchdown that doesn't count, he's in a fantastic spot and defending on that. It was an incredible play, but he was excellent. Um, I thought Robert Spears Jennings had another really solid effort. He came in, made some plays in the running game, had a really nice tackle for loss, or maybe it was a no gain on Milroe. Uh, uh, Billy Bowman had a nice PBU. He did a really good job inserting in the run game himself. And then Woody Washington had that nice interception late. It was awesome to see him get one of those. So I know that's a long list of guys that played well, but it was awesome to see team defense. It's what it looks like. I'm just so happy that it paid off what these guys have been working for all season.
You were giddy.
Still am. Still am.
It's
It's
the
awesome.
best. It's the best OU defensive performance since when? Florida State?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You talking Florida State
National
in
championship game, Florida State. When you think about the level of competition, what was on the line for them, what the season has been for us, to go out and
I mean,
completely dismantle that offense is
yeah, it's right there. There's going to be some other ones thrown in there that people will bring up. But it's alongside any of those great performances that people want to throw out there. I mean, the numbers bear it out. Awesome stuff.
anything else. What you saw from OU's defense.
Think that's it.
All right, let's talk about what we saw from the Sooners offense against the Crimson Tide defense. But first, hitting the highway, remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway. And with the Love's app, you can also save big. How big? 10 or 15 cents big. Save 10 cents per gallon on gas and 15 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app today and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
Oh, you tailgaters, listen up. We're now officially in the premium conference of college football, and you expect a premium product on the field and on the grill. That's why you need Didier Ranch's steak burgers to take your tailgate to the next level. Proudly raised in Oklahoma for over 120 years, premium beef this good is hard to come by. Go to DidierRanch.com. That's DIDIER ranch.com. Use promo code Oklahoma15 for 15% off your order. Didier Ranch. Tradition plays better and tastes better.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. Husbands, feeling a bit like the Grinch about holiday shopping? Let Simple Modern make your gift giving merry and bright. Surprise your wife with exclusive limited edition items from their holiday collection, or add a little sparkle with their new luxurious quilted Harper tote. Your kids will light up over their favorite licensed character gifts, and your office mates will love new tumblers and water bottles to kick off the new year in style. With Simple Modern, holiday shopping is done in just a few clicks. Plus, 10% of all profits go to charity. Many right here in Oklahoma, spreading cheer far beyond the holidays. Simple Modern, it's good everywhere. All right, let's talk about OU's offense against the Alabama defense. Want to start here, Ted. Just a tremendous game plan to go and win the football game. Not the prettiest thing ever. but I thought it was a game plan that gave your team the best chance to win the game and gave that offense the best chance to succeed. Tons of shifts, motions, just presenting a picture to Alabama's defense and then changing it before the snap constantly. Just creating variables over and over and over again for that defense. Mixed up personnel groupings really well. A lot of the 21 personnel stuff was really good with two running backs on the field. Some of the 12 personnel stuff was really good, and some of the things it created in the run game. Of course, a lot of 11, but just a good blend of mixing personnel groupings, shifting, motioning, just constantly changing the picture. Clearly, the run game was the thing that stood out. Just really nice execution and attention to detail in all the different gap scheme stuff. Counter, power, and they got to it so many different ways out of so many different formations. And it is a credit to the players putting in the time. They could handle all of that. It was a lot. The coaches can say, oh, we make it simple for them. We just make it a little complicated. No. That was a lot. And to those guys' credit, they were dialed in. They had the bye week to get ready, and they were dialed in, and they went out there and executed. They, fake toss QB countered with sweep action to it, counter with sweep action away, shovel concepts, power with jet sweep away, power with full flow to it. Sprinkled in some split zone and a few pin pulls in there just for fun, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But the execution and the complexity of the run game is what stood out above everything else. And I'm not entirely sure that that's exactly what the game plan was. But I think once they saw the success that they were having, credit to Joe John Finley and that staff, they went, we're sticking with this and we're riding it.
Yep.
Would they probably have liked to throw it around a little more in the game? Sure. But you ended up, Brennan Thompson goes down. You're down to your top 6 wide receivers. And what do you do when that happens? You just run it. And to their credit, they were able to run it, and they moved Alabama off the football.
You said it during the broadcast. We're an option football team right now. It's what it is.
It's what it looked like.
We threw it 11 times, and 5 of those probably were shovel passes.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's just get into, we mentioned how the game finished. 10 plays, nearly 7 minutes.
Awesome.
Almost had to change my shorts as I watched that on tape. It was close. It was close, injected into my veins. Jackson Arnold just displayed some serious toughness in this game. Played with physicality, 25 carries, took some big hits, popped up every time and looked like he wanted more. Protected the football. When things were getting dicey, put 2 hands on the football and protected it like his life depended on it. It's good stuff. And credit to that kid, man. After the way that Missouri finished, you can implode as a player.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He didn't. And he went out there and played very well, made good decisions in the run game. Were there a few where he probably could have handed it instead of keeping it? Sure. But I thought for the most part, he made crisp, quick decisions in the run game. And then guy made things happen with his legs. The way that he responded after Missouri and going and playing the way that he did in this game, I think it tells you a lot about him as a player and as a person.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, that like even in some of the pass game stuff, making the decision to pull it down and run and scramble, like there's not a lot open downfield. On some stuff, it looks like the guys are there. He didn't even have anyone downfield on some pass plays. So yeah, I hats off to him. Best performance as a Sooner by far. And it's like a weird performance. Like I heard you guys the interview post game. He's like, I saw some of like the openers and there was a lot of quarterback run in there. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I bet he didn't think he was going to carry it. What was it, 22, 25 times?
9 of 11 in the passing game. And Joe John Finley, he tried to scheme some things up. There are several where he's trying to, they had success on a couple of the different counter concepts. He tried to build off that and sneak some pop passes to Bauer Sharp. And to Bama's credit, they just covered him. But to Jackson Arnold's credit, he didn't force anything.
Right.
He let it play out. It wasn't there. And like you mentioned, Ted, he just pulled it down. He didn't do anything stupid with the football all game long. He never, not one time, put the ball in harm's way. Not once.
Yeah, and even though we didn't throw it a lot, he had some nice throws. The slant to Brenham Thompson was nice. The touch pass, the little cell route to Bauer Sharp was really nice. The ball to Jacob Jordan down inside the 5 was nice. He made some nice throws.
I hope Tony Romo was proud of him.
What's the deal?
I don't know. Saw him in the locker room after the game. He was at the Missouri game too.
Yeah.
Talked to him on the sideline there.
Interesting.
All I know, now clearly him and DeMarco Murray have that relationship, and maybe that's it.
Yeah.
But I know this. It doesn't hurt to have Tony Romo in your locker room with a bunch of recruits in the locker room after the game. And I rarely go into the locker room, but I went and I wanted to hug every one of those offensive linemen. So I went and did it. And Romo's just in there chilling with this kid. And I don't think it hurts our recruiting efforts that Tony Romo wants to hang out at Oklahoma. I'm fine with it.
That's awesome.
Same coat and same
offensive
hat.
Coordinator rumors are there with Romo?
I think he'd be taking a large pay cut.
Yeah, he would.
Sure, Tony Romo. Why not? I've always loved that guy. Wide receiver. Just an awesome, you mentioned it, just an awesome game from Jackson Arnold. Is that the type of game you want to play as a quarterback? Probably not. Let's be real. But he did what his team needed him to do to go and win the football game.
That's right.
And that's what being a teammate and being a leader and being a captain is all about. So credit to that guy, man. That was a tough, gritty performance from Jackson Arnold. What it means for his future in this program, dude, I don't know. But it was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. I know that.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm happy for him, but for everyone to get that good. I know it's been a season full of disappointment, frustration, anger. So just to get that payoff, and I know it's not over yet, but they've earned that one.
Wide receivers, not a productive night, clearly, when you only throw 12 passes. But Brendan Thompson, he had the one catch, a really nice throwing catch from Jackson Arnold. I hate it. He gets rolled up on a play where he's just in there fighting as a blocker, like extra effort type stuff. I hate that for him. He was on the boot. He was in a boot on the sideline. We'll see. It did not look good on tape. It's hard to imagine he'll be good for next week against LSU, but we'll see. I'm just glad his leg wasn't broken the way that it looked. Yeah. It was an ugly look. Other wide receivers, Zion Reagans, he had a jet sweep for 3 yards. Looked fast doing it.
Yeah, he did.
Zion Kearney, I don't recall him getting a touch.
I saw him limp off a couple of times. Maybe
it was like he was cramping or something, or a ham. I don't know what was going on there. Jacob Jordan had the one catch. Nice catch. Big play. Liked it. Now, it was only for 5 yards, but it felt like a big play in the game. And then J.J. Hester, did not register a catch, but I want to give that guy credit. He blocked his ass off in this game. Several plays, he's putting guys into the ground. The touchdown run on the pin pull, he's the inside wide receiver in the bunch. He pulls around, completely takes an Alabama defender out of the picture. Just some really good stuff. Just when you're playing in a game like that as a wide receiver, I have to imagine it'd be a little easy to check out.
Yeah.
These guys didn't check out. They were battling, man. Battling as blockers, playing with great effort. It was enjoyable to watch.
They were one level away from jogging the play in from the sideline to the huddle in this game.
That's how it felt. Like we don't have any more guys. Go get the play.
Yeah.
Running back, Xavier Robinson. Ted, let me know if my eyes were lying to me. In a game that had Ryan Williams, Jalen Milroe, probably a couple guys for Bama's defense that have a chance to be first rounders, Xavier Robinson looked like the best player on the field.
Easily.
Not only did he look like the best running back in the game, he looked like the best player on the field. And that's so exciting for the future. He was incredible. And this is how I look at this. If the coaches thought he was capable of this earlier in the season, he would have been playing. And I know there's a lot of people, a lot of OU fans, and I completely understand it, that are going, why has this guy not been playing? What have we been doing? I get it. But I would encourage people to look at it at from a different angle. Xavier Robinson has worked his ass off all year long. Ever since he got to campus, he has been obsessed with transforming his body. I've been told throughout the season, he's still been getting up super early and going and working with Jerry Schmidt and his strength staff every single morning. So instead of saying, why has this guy not been playing? Let's say, how about this dude's work ethic and what he's turned himself into this season?
Yep.
Because he was not this guy week one.
No. And you've heard Venables talk about, he said, whenever he came in, and he was here in the spring, right? I think he was.
Yeah.
As an early round. Said it, it was difficult for him. He had to get his body right and everything. He said that's not an uncommon thing. It's just, that's kind of where he was. So incredible transformation.
Joe John Finley said something interesting after the game. He said Xavier Robinson was actually kind of pissed when they pulled him off scout team because he had gotten into this routine and he felt he was getting better.
He didn't just want to go stand, and
he didn't just want to go when they said, hey, man, we need you. He didn't want to just go stand there and not get reps and not try to improve, which I think tells you a lot about where this guy's mentality is.
Yeah.
But he ain't standing and watching, brother. He's out there making things happen, and he was incredible. I mean, I really believe the touchdown run before the half, that moment, that's when it felt like everyone in the stadium, players, coaches, fans, radio guys,
we're going to win.
Where we all started to go, we're going to win this game.
Yep.
We're going to win this game. And he was fantastic. Vision, explosion, suddenness, and the guy never gets knocked backwards.
No. No. He wiggles through and there's 10 people there, and somehow he falls out of the group forward. It's crazy. It's an awesome trait to have as a running back, that's for sure.
He's also got speed. That touchdown run, you can see it.
Yep.
Big physical back. I think I speak for the entire fan base when I say I'm so excited for this guy's future.
Yep. Totally
And
agree.
we love the Oklahoma guys. Come on.
Yeah. Yep.
Carl Albert, stand up. Let's go. Taylor Tatum can't fumble the football, man. Can't fumble the football when someone just hits you in the back.
I watched it on TV and it looked like it was coming out before he even took the hit. Like he ran tight to one of the linemen and it looks like the ball hits one of the linemen and jostles and then he takes the hit and it comes out.
Can't happen.
Mm-mm.
Can't happen. And we didn't see him the rest of the game. So it didn't happen again.
Yeah.
But it is now on tape that he has a fumbling issue. It is up to him. It's still you're going to need him against LSU.
Yep.
You're going to need him against LSU. You have to go out there. You got to play at a high level. You got to play fast. You got to play with confidence. You got to protect the football. Bottom line. Because that 21 personnel stuff is, I think it's the best stuff that they've got.
Yeah. That added where they, start a guy and bring him in motion and run counter and all that different stuff is really cool.
Really good. Gavin Sawchuk, he got some opportunities in this game, did a nice job when he was called upon, couple of carries. Nothing special, but hey, he protected the football, and I thought he was really assignment sound in the 21 personnel stuff when he was asked to block. Knew where he was going, went and covered guys up. So good stuff from Sawchuk. Tight end. Bauer Sharp. It wasn't a good throw, but you got to make that catch, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, at that point in time, it felt like a dramatic development in the game. Like, oh my gosh, this is how we're going to lose the game. We drop a double pass. Ended up not mattering as much as we thought at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good, but got to make that play. And that, by the way, that was a hell of a play call from Joe John Finley.
Yeah,
because Bama is in their third and long look. We talked about it when we previewed the game. They liked the 6 up, 7 up. They brought 0. And the entire offensive line chops 5 of them down. Running back knows exactly where he's going. Throw it out to Brendan Thompson. Bama's guys are running up, ready to make a play. And it's wide open. A fantastic call in. Although you drop it, that call actually affects the rest of the game. OU wasn't in a ton of third and longs the rest of the way. But you know what Bama never did again in any of those situations?
Yeah, bring the heat.
They never got in that look again. Not once. Yep. Scared them. So, even though that you wish you would have scored a touchdown, you should have scored a touchdown there. It was not a great throw either. Maybe make it a little easier on Bauer Sharp, but also catch the ball.
Yeah.
But that play did affect how Bama called defense in those situations the rest of the way. So credit to Joe John Finley. I was told that they were doing their game plan and stuff for third and long. And Joe John just kind of looked around and went, what if we just throw a double pass? And everyone in the room kind of just looked at each other like, that sounds good.
Yeah, let's do it.
It was perfect.
It was
there.
Perfect. Yep.
For Sharp, blocking continues to be a bit of a struggle.
He had a nice block on one of Jackson Arnold's early runs where he fitted up in there real nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't get to the zone insert stuff where he's been at his best. It was a lot of more of the counter stuff, and he still is struggling to find, when the picture changes, when like they exchange assignments, that first puller in him, he's struggling to find that second guy.
Yeah.
It'll come with time. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not. I think he's going to be a really good player next year.
Yeah, I think so too. I know he still has a lot of that stuff to work on, but he's come a really long way in some of these concepts with how he's doing it, especially the insert stuff. He looks really good whenever he's just coming straight downhill on guys.
Yeah. Another offseason of getting stronger, I think will do him a lot of good. Jake Roberts, I thought he did some really nice stuff coming into the 12 personnel stuff. sustained blocks at a high level, really strained. I liked what I saw from Jake. Caught a shovel, protected the football. So I thought Jake did some good stuff. Offensive line. I am so proud of this offensive line. These guys have taken criticism all year long. And a lot of that criticism is deserved. But to go out there and to execute and dominate the way that they did, it just tells you everything you need to know about this group. And it tells you everything you need to know about Bill Bedenbaugh and who he is as a coach. They got after Bama's ass for 4 straight quarters. Well, 1 sack, a couple tackles for loss from a bunch of guys that are going to play in the NFL.
Yep.
That was a hell of a performance. And a performance none of us saw coming. Yeah, that's fine. But it's a good reminder. All that matters, not saying that fans don't matter. That's not what I'm saying. But all that matters when it comes to going out there and executing is that you and the rest of the guys in that room believe. And they went out and executed a really good game plan. So I'm thrilled for those guys. It's been a rough year. You have the injuries, you have all the criticism, and to go out there and dominate the game the way that they did was so much fun.
Yeah.
To watch. So much fun.
It was a great effort, and I'm anxious to hear how individually they did, but as a group, man, that is something to really be proud of.
Logan Howland, another really nice game. Continues to get better. I thought this was as fast and as physical as he's played, and that makes sense. The atmosphere, the build-up, prime time, it's Bama. Like, that stuff matters. It's silly to pretend that it doesn't. But I thought his physicality on his double teams was as good as it's been. I thought when he was on an island in some of the gap scheme stuff, where it's just him and a defensive end wrestling like 2 bears, he consistently won his battles. He continues to do a really nice job when he gets to the second level of getting on linebackers, not trying to kill them and swinging and whiffing, but getting his hands on them and then kind of just really pulling him into his body. He's doing a good job. So there's not a ton of pass pro reps to break down from any of these linemen in this game, but I think Howland was perfect in pass protection in the few snaps that he has. So continue to be excited about Logan Howland's development. Heath Ozida, by far the most fun I've had watching him. He played at a different speed than he's played it all season long. It honestly made me realize he's more athletic than I thought he was. It was the most athletic and forceful that he's looked. And I've always thought, hey, if you take care of the down guys in gap scheme runs, things tend to go well. And he did a nice job. Him and Howland did a nice job of emphasizing getting movement on the down guys before they came off. And that was in some of the zone stuff they ran as well. They were moving the defensive linemen and then coming off. I really liked a lot of what I saw from them. Ozida, he's starting to see the defense better. It's clear that the confidence is building. Things are slowing down. When the picture is changing post-snap, he doesn't look confused. His head's not turning like, oh my gosh, what's happening? It's clear that he's seeing things more clearly, which is exactly how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
As you play more and more as an offensive lineman. And they're still, I still think he can get so much better. But man, there's a lot to be excited about for 77.
It's early, but you think that has a chance to be the starting left side for the future?
Yes.
Both freshmen.
Yes. I I mean, when you think about Howland, Ozida, Everett's got another year. Fabechi Weebu's got another year. Eddie Pierre Louis clearly is going to be a factor. You've got Jacob Sexton, who I think I don't think there's any reason why Jacob Sexton can't be your starting right tackle next year if he comes back from the knee injury. And it would be, I think it would do Sexton a whole lot of good for to just allow him to focus on one position.
Mhm.
I think he could be a really solid right tackle. You've got Fasusi and Foje coming in. Got some other young linemen that are already there that they're excited about. Maybe you add a couple pieces, one or two out of the portal. Some veteran guys, like if those types of guys are available, we'll see. But I know this. I feel a hell of a lot better about next year than I did 6 weeks ago when we're talking about the offensive line.
Yep.
I I just think that the confidence that builds from going out and having a performance like this against a team like that, dude, that's so valuable.
Hey, if you can do it against them, you can do it against anyone. So, yeah, I hope they got some confidence from it.
There's also the reality that I think Bama may be like the third or fourth best defensive line we've played this year.
Yeah, it's everyone's a everyone's really good, about the same. I mean, there's no, I mean, even Auburn. Auburn's got some big physical dudes across the board. So, yeah.
Troy Everett just grabbing the hell out of guys. I love it. It's what you got to do at center. Just get away with everything, grab people left and right. But he did a really nice job on the gap scheme stuff. Consistently kept guys from crossing his face, which is very, very important at the center position. But I thought he managed all the moving parts very well. It looked like the communication was really good. Also saw him get to pull a couple of times. I was just happy for him that he got to do that. That's fun at center. But I thought he played a really nice game. Fabechi Weewu, solid. I still think there's more with him, man. I still think there's more. He needs to be moving people. He's gotta come off the ball. He's too measured. He's too measured coming off the ball. His feet, or he kind of just steps in place. I did think his pad level was as good as it's been all season long. And usually playing against really good, big, strong guys will do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he kept his pad level down, and that was encouraging. But there's more there. We saw some Eddie Pierre Louis. He got a drive, got some action, and it looked like a true freshman out there playing in a massive moment, and things were moving real fast. Which he was just trying to go and smash everything. Did I get that? But I think he was so juiced up that it resulted in his technique struggling, especially with his hands. He was just going wide with the hands, kind of ducking the head, and that happens when you're just a little too geeked up. And I think that's where EPL was, but he looked his best as a puller on the counter stuff. Just arriving with force. I thought he looked really nice in a couple of those plays, but was it his best? No. Was it fun to watch him get out there in a massive game like that and get a drive? Yeah. That's good stuff. Now, he'll watch that tape and he'll go, "Hey, just got to calm down. You got to trust your technique. You got to trust what you've practiced." And I'm not worried about that guy at all.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, while the technique was not where you want it to be, that dude's effort is awesome. And when that technique gets right and he gets a little heavier and a little stronger, watch out, man. He should. I'll be really, really surprised if he doesn't end up being a really good guard. Maybe center. I'd love to see him play center.
Dude, center. Woo.
Spencer Brown. Most movement he's created, most violent he's played, not even close. Was it dominant? No. Did he play his best game of the year? Absolutely. Not I mean, just not even debatable. And I just thought he finished as many blocks. He maybe finished more blocks in this game than the rest of the season combined. On guys when the play was over, just playing with really good effort. And I thought he went. Remember, I view each lineman differently. I view them all through the lens of the expectations I have for that guy. And I thought that Spencer Brown played about as well as you could ask him to play against Alabama.
Well, it's a great time to do it. That's excellent. And I think whenever I'm sure for those guys, whenever everyone kind of got an idea of where the game plan is going to be, what we're going to be doing the rest of the game, it probably the confidence probably built because I would imagine most of the anxiety and the tentativeness comes from the passing stuff, right? So whenever you're able to kind of put that behind you, just come firing off the football, then not surprising he plays best game.
Anything else? What we saw from OU's offense versus that Bama defense.
I just thought it was excellent. And I mean, it's really cool to see how many freshmen played really good in that game. Xavier Robinson, Eli Bowen, Jaden Jackson, Howland, Ozida, Pierre Louis coming in. There's a bunch of freshmen out there playing and doing some good stuff.
Jaxson Arnold.
Jaxson Arnold.
I mean, second year. He's basically
Yeah.
redshirt freshman. Is he a redshirt? Did he redshirt? I don't
I
even
don't
remember.
think so. I think he's listed as a sophomore.
It doesn't matter. I don't care about redshirting anymore anyways.
Right.
I think it's a useless activity, basically. With the way that college football works. Not useless. That's not the right word, but I feel like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you should not be worried about it anymore.
No, the next step, and they've brought this up, is just 5 years to play. No more redshirt stuff.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's get to call your shot. We asked you guys the number one thing that stood out to you about OU's win over Alabama. This first one comes from Dirt Burglars, who says, that wasn't Sooner Magic. Magic is when crazy happens to seal it. That was a street fight. We drugged them into a phone booth and kicked their ass.
That's right. It's a good way of putting it.
There was nothing Sooner magical about that.
Mm-mm.
That was an ass kicking. I mean, that straight up, it did not take anything fluky. That was one team being more physical, one team wanting it more, one team pushing the other team around. That's what that was. There no Sooner magic involved.
Nope.
Didn't need it. You don't need it when you just beat the other team's ass for 4 quarters.
Yep. It was great. And it makes you feel good because how many times this year have we seen we've turned the ball over and we came back and turned it over the next series? We took a lead 10-3 into half against Ole Miss. And what happened? Came out the second half and didn't answer the call. We've forced turnovers defensively and haven't gotten anything out of it with our offense. We did. So all the things that we've struggled with that have cost us, mistakes that we've made, we showed that we know how to respond in those situations now. Awesome.
This other one comes from Philip Easterly, who says, so happy for BV and staff. Life is hard, and I think we forget these are people. Last night was such a great reward for everyone associated with the university for the grind of this year. It's been a rough year.
Yep.
And I can just say personally, it's been one of the toughest weeks of my entire life.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. I am entirely too emotionally invested in what happens with this football team and with this program. And I needed that, man.
Yes.
And every one of those guys I saw, everyone, every coach, I thanked him because I needed that shit, man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take what my wife and I are going through away, but I know this. It didn't make it any worse. That was much needed for me, much needed for I'm sure a lot of people that are going through whatever right now, including Coach Venables with what he's going through with his wife, and it just man, it felt good to watch that team play that way.
It
It felt
did.
so good.
It did. That's why I mean that's why I don't have any problem. I know people had their issues with the storm in the field stuff or whatever. Uh, that's why I don't have any problem with it, man. Th- These guys, it's just it's an awesome moment. It's okay to celebrate it. I get it. Whatever. Blue blood not supposed to do that. Well, who cares? They did it. It was fun. Everyone enjoyed it. The players loved it. The coaches loved it. Uh, I loved it. It was fun to watch. So that I got no problem with it.
If you're upset about that field being stormed, why are you a thief of joy? The only issue, we it's clear we don't do that a lot with how
I
sloppy
know
that
it.
was.
That's a good thing, right?
I
Is
was out there shooing students off the field. It's like, guys, and I kept saying, this is what I kept saying. Hey, just one more play, and then you can come. No, we're not mad. It's fine. Just one more play. Come on. Come on. We gotta snap it one more time. It's okay.
it was, BV did hit him with the last time out to get Casey Thompson out there to take that snap. And that threw the whole system out of whack.
They snapped the last play with the goalposts on the ground.
No, both of them were laying down on the ground.
At one point they had the one in the north end zone at like a 45-degree angle, and I kept seeing a couple of Bama defenders be like, "Is that safe?" Like, what was it that they kept looking around, like turning around and looking at it, like, "Is that thing about to fall on us?"
Then it's like, okay, screw it. It's fine. Just lay it down. Let's snap this thing, get the hell out of here.
The refs were like, "Hey, it's gonna be fine. Just
Yeah.
don't go trip on it." Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Ted, a lot of people listen to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people came up. I took lots of pictures, and I
Oh,
hope
he's
that
on the
people
field, yeah.
like crop you into them.
Ah, yes. Yes. Photoshop me right in there.
There we go.
That was
All right,
great.
let's.
And I'll say this, I'm curious to see how they respond because that can be we're not we're not going to turn this season into some like crazy success. But I think that can be a pivotal point in the direction of this program for the future.
Completely agree. There's some important decisions to be made here in the very near future. We'll see what those look like. But
I made this comment to someone earlier today. The you know that the offensive coordinator job, the offensive coordinator job at Oklahoma is a great job, but situationally right now it's a little bit different than it's ever been. And if you're on the fence saying like, man, is it really the right time to go take that job with, where the head coach is and what's going on right there, that can change your mind pretty quickly.
that performance can change your mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's still a great job.
They look pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I can make something work there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially that defense with all the pieces that defense is going to have back. I know they're losing some great players, but that defense is going to be good.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I think that if one of these guys was a little unsure, probably had their eyes on that one last night and went, you know what? I think I can make that work. let's recap a couple of just awesome games from week 13 in college football. But first,
Schwab Meat is making Friendsgiving more fun with another NIL partnership for the holiday season, starring Billy Bowman, Jada Coleman, Kobe McKenzie, and Kinsey Hansen. Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality turkeys and hams for your special holiday meals since 1912. Every Schwab turkey is cooked and smoked over real hardwood hickory for 12 hours. Make your Thanksgiving meal easy this year by ordering your holiday turkeys and hams online at schwabmeat.com. Get free shipping on online orders over $75 with code OKBreakdown. Schwab Meat, the official champion of the holidays.
and three things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise, it's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go.
And head to the garage for hand smashed patties, butter toasted buns, and ice cold beer. It's the perfect spot to watch any big game. And with all the garage locations being open at 10 p.m. or later every night, it's the go-to late night spot. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the garage in your neighborhood.
It was a good week 13
Yes, it was.
in college football. Let's hit three games here, and then we'll hit a couple more in winners and losers. Let's start with Indiana and Ohio State. The Buckeyes gave the Hoosiers a beatdown. 38-15 in Columbus. An incredible start for Indiana. You forced the 3 and out, then you go on an 11-play drive and score a touchdown, and Indiana had everyone's attention at that point. But Ohio State just too talented, too deep, and ultimately, Ted, Ohio State's defense just choked the life out of Indiana's offense. They couldn't do anything after that first drive of the game, essentially. Just a really impressive performance from Jim Knowles' group.
No doubt. When you're the underdog and you're going on the road and you're not the more talented team, you have to play perfect. And Indiana got a 3 and out to start the game and went right down the field and scored a touchdown. And it's like, okay, this is interesting.
And then they stuffed Ohio State on 4th and 1.
Stuffed them on, turned them over on downs, punted the ball out of there. But that's whenever the problem started. They had a fumble, but they did intercept it right back. It was still 7-7. But then, they mishandled the snap, right? And Ohio State scores a touchdown easily right before half. And, so Indiana takes it in down 14-7. Okay, not the worst thing. Come out, 3 and out, punt return for a touchdown. And all of a sudden you're down 21-7. And just like we saw in our game, when you have the lead or you're down and you're not more talented and you become one-dimensional against a team like Ohio State, not a good recipe.
I absolutely hate that the biggest play of this game was Indiana's punter not being able to just catch the damn football.
I know. Just brutal.
That sucked. No one wanted that.
Nope.
That's not how I want big games to be determined. Oh, the punter can't catch a perfect snap. Now, to Ohio State's credit, they cashed in on a massive mistake.
Yep.
But God, I hated that. I was so pissed that was such a large factor in the football game. I thought Will Howard was really solid, Ted.
Yeah. Yep. He made
I
some
thought
nice
that
plays.
he looked like a guy that was excited for that stage. And, You combine that with the dominant performance from Ohio State's defense. I mean, Rourke had 68 yards passing.
Yeah, there was just nothing there, and yeah, Will Howard was super efficient, 22 of 26, and all of the big name receivers got involved, and man, they're super talented. They're really good. But all that being said, I still believe Indiana is a really good football team. I think their defense is really good, offense, uh, really good. Now I think the way that game unfolded, they weren't going to win. Ohio State was going to win that game, but the way it unfolded was a nightmare situation for Indiana to go in and win that game on the road. I think they're closer than what the final was, but Ohio State proved that they're definitively the better football team.
My reaction when the game ended was Indiana's out. They're out. They played one really good team. They got smacked. The committee, I've always felt like the committee's just waiting to be able to drop them because it's Indiana. There's no history there. It's not a big draw. Like there's a business component of this whole thing. I was just sitting there right when this game ended going, they're going to put a 2 or maybe even a 3-loss SEC team in over Indiana. And then there was chaos. And somehow, some way, even though they went to Columbus and got smacked, Indiana's sitting pretty, man. They're in a good spot. I think Indiana's going to go to the college football playoff.
Think so?
I think so. I think they're going to be an 11-1 team. And with how things unfolded in the Big 12 and the SEC yesterday, I think Indiana's going to get the benefit of the doubt. I think they're in.
Yeah, because the chaos still isn't over. And I know that there may not be as many big games as there was this weekend. I haven't really even looked ahead at the schedule yet, but who knows what's going to happen? I mean, 2 days ago, it's like, man, it's going to be hard picking the 12 teams. And then today it's like, do we really need a 12-team playoff? It's like,
who are the 12 going to be?
Yeah, it's crazy, but good. I like it like this, man. I mean, we'll get to it, but there's still a lot of people fighting for a playoff spot. A bunch of people.
If you want to tell me Ohio State's the best team in the country and that they're going to win the national title, I can't tell you you're wrong. I still think Georgia on its bet, like when Georgia's at its best, I think Georgia's the best team in the country. But Ohio State looked pretty good.
They did. I'm with you. But to your point, I'm looking at the AP top 25. Ohio State's number 2. I'm not so sure I wouldn't pick the number 15 team to beat them, Ole Miss. And I know that we'll get to that, but it's just it's a crazy year that I just don't. I know I've talked about this, but it's incredibly more even than it's been in a long time, which I like.
Let's get to it. Ole Miss went to Gainesville, and the Gators got it done. They win it 24-17. And if you were watching the end of this game, you were going, oh my gosh, Billy Napier and the Florida offense, they have mismanaged the clock. How could they leave Ole Miss so much time? Jaxson Dart, they're going to go score. It's going to become a huge talking point. And no, that did not happen.
He's going to throw an interception into triple coverage. It's like, what the hell is he doing?
What was that? They had 2 chances. Jaxson Dart had 2 chances to go and tie the game, and maybe, who knows? You never know with Kempin. Maybe they go for 2 and they win it. But he had 2 chances to go and win the game, and the first one was an awful decision. Such a bad decision that Juice Wells, the wide receiver it was intended for, was visibly shocked that the ball came his way. And then the second one, I don't know, miscommunication, a super inaccurate throw. I'm not really sure what went on there, but just Jaxson Dart had the chance to be the guy, and it was a disaster on the last two drives for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, it's Florida has has really turned things around. Their record's not gonna impress anyone or anything, but man, when they got their quarterback healthy and ready to go, they're a tough out, and Lagway is going to be a problem in the future.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who's that?
Donovan McNabb at Syracuse.
Huh. Okay.
I think it has a lot to do with the build, but that dude can absolutely rip it.
Yeah.
There are a couple throws in this game, and I said the same thing last week. There are a couple throws in this game where I just went, oh. I mean, his arm talent is, and remember, he's banged up. Like his
Yeah.
mobility is not where it normally would be. And still, I mean, he throws, they run a slot fade down in the red zone, and he just throws this back shoulder ball that it just could not have been a better throw. He has a handful of throws, it feels like every single game now, where you just go, that's the throw of the first pick of the draft.
Yeah.
Like he has that. I think that's the ceiling for him as the first pick of the draft. If Florida fans, you think about where they were in September, mentality wise, to where they're at now, not only with the head coach, but with where this thing is headed. I mean, my goodness, a lot can change in 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I mean, they had to come out and let everyone know that the head coach is their guy. And really, since that point forward, it feels like that's kind of been the turning point, and things that they've started playing better since then. I know there's other stuff involved, but yeah, it's been a wild turnaround for them.
Credit to that defense. Obviously, everyone's talking about Lagway because he looks like he's just going to be an absolute star. But Ole Miss could not run it consistently. That Florida defensive line did a really nice job, made Dart uncomfortable throughout the game. And they went, I thought, a couple of the biggest plays in the game. They went to the JJ Pegues, Wildcat package, and it got stuffed twice. And Ole Miss didn't get points. I think one was in the first quarter and the other one was in the third. Why the big fella is bouncing it out to the perimeter, I'm not entirely sure. Thought that was an interesting choice, but those were huge plays. And now you look at what it means for Ole Miss, Ted. It feels like their CFP chances are dead. It feels like Dart's no longer going to get a Heisman invite with how that thing ended. All kinds of questions about the wide receivers. I mean, how many balls did they drop in this game? Trey Hurst got hurt again.
Mm.
It just a week ago, it was a very reasonable conversation to have surrounding whether or not this team was the best team in the country. Oh, how things can change in a week.
It's wild, isn't it? I mean, it's crazy, and I think it's different in this conference than it is anywhere else. I mean, one of the teams that was a shoe in, most people thought for the playoff, loses to a team that was below 500 in conference play. And I mean, same thing with Alabama. It's top to bottom, incredibly tough.
Only other thing from that game, Walter Nolan is a dude. That dude, Ole Miss did not get it done, but it wasn't that guy's fault. He was everywhere in that game.
You know, the problem for Ole Miss is that is a senior heavy football team. I mean, they're almost their entire defense are seniors or guys that are going to the league. So it's going to be like they poured a ton of money into it. It's going to be a tough bounce back for them.
A ton of money.
Yep.
How unfortunate. One other game we got to hit. Game of the day. Texas A&M Auburn was just an absolute roller coaster, man.
Wild.
Ends up Auburn gets the win 43-41 in 4 overtimes. And you just look at how the game started. Could not have been better for Auburn. Just massive explosive plays in the passing game to Cam Coleman and Keandre Lambert-Smith. Yeah, they pick Marcel Reed off. They cash in on that. It's 21-0 Auburn with like 13 minutes to go in the second quarter. It's a bloodbath. And then A&M goes on this long drive and just kind of stabilizes things. And then it felt like slowly but surely, here comes the Auburn collapse.
Here it comes.
And, first drive of the second half, Noah Thomas goes and makes it amazing touchdown catch. I think Auburn went 3 and out then, and then a 73-yard slant to Noah Thomas, and oh my God, we're tied at 21. But to Auburn's credit, they stopped the bleeding at that point. But once they blew that lead, like no part of me thought Auburn was going to win this football game, Ted.
I know. And even like the way the game ended, like Auburn had a chance to go win it. It just couldn't get out of their own way. They kicked the field goal to go to overtime, and then overtime is just like that's not how you would draw it up if you're Auburn.
I when you look at what do you think about the overtime format? Am I the only one that kind of enjoys it? Maybe I'm on an island here because I understand people want to see the guys actually play football. I get that. Want to see you have to. I personally would like to see you have to drive the football to score points in overtime. But the suspense of the 2-point conversion off is kind of awesome.
Yeah. The only thing that I would like, the only reason I think it's dumb is because it's supposed to speed things up, but they switch ends of the field after each. You know what I'm saying? It just like you take all this time going back and forth. I don't know. I don't really have a problem with it. I just think they tried to fix something that wasn't broken, you know.
Because of one game that went to like 7 overtimes.
Because of Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Was it them in Arkansas or
LSU?
LSU? Yeah, it's LSU.
But you look at the overtime, both teams scored touchdowns, both teams get field goals, and then we're into the 2-point conversion off. And I feel so bad. Who was that? That was Daniels that dropped it, right? The running back, Amari Daniels, and he had done some really nice things in that game, but Keandre Lambert-Smith goes up and makes an awesome play on the football to get Auburn the lead.
That
and
was
then
an incredible catch.
Those two guys, Cam Coleman and Keandre Lambert-Smith, if there's a better duo at wide receiver in the country, someone let me know about it.
I mean,
those dudes are freaks.
It's a perfect example of this conference because like Auburn is they're a 5-6 football team down towards the bottom, and like they may have the best like wide receiver running back combo in the conference.
They may have the best wide receiver running back combo in the country.
I know. It's crazy.
I mean, Jarquez Hunter's a really good player.
5-6 football team.
Yeah. But just a brutal drop for Amari Daniels on the trickeration play there for Texas A&M. They had it. You can say, hey, why are you dialing up that play? The bottom line is it worked perfectly. The ball hit him right in the chest and he dropped it. And that's how you lose the game.
Did you see the offensive pass interference call in the second overtime.
What did you think of that?
I I I didn't think it was. I thought it was a bad call. Um, I thought Hugh Freeze was going to pass out and die on the sideline. He was so pissed off. It that is one of the most angry I've ever seen a coach.
I
What did you think? Was it a good call?
I didn't like it. I
Yeah.
usually in an overtime setting, I kind of lean towards whether it's right or wrong. Like, hey, let's let these guys play. Let's let a little contact go. But I mean, they got to a third and fourth overtime. The
Yeah.
teams got to decide the game. I love it? No, I did not.
It felt like that was going to be the game ender though, because they had to settle for that long field goal, and luckily they got out of there. So that was fun. We were watching it while we were doing the post game up in the booth. It was cool.
The way that this game unfolded, Auburn getting the win sets the table for one hell of a matchup between Texas and Texas A&M. It is clear. It is defined. Georgia is going to play in the SEC championship game. And the winner of Texas A&M will be their opponent. I love it. I absolutely love it. Like there's nothing else to figure out. That's
Right.
it. Georgia versus the winner of a game that has not been played for a very long time. One team coming into that one with a little more confidence than the other. But awesome. Awesome. Win and you go play for an SEC title. That's
Can I ask you a question? Um, let's say
Is
A&M.
Tennessee the biggest winner of the weekend because they don't have to play in the SEC championship game and they're basically a lock for the playoff? They do have Vandy left, but yes,
Yeah.
Tennessee was a big winner of the weekend.
Okay. If A&M beats Texas and it's A&M in Georgia, it, is there
Is there a chance that Texas gets in and A&M doesn't if they lose the game?
right?
No. I don't
You don't think so?
I think the committee is going to set a precedent, especially since Georgia beat the absolute hell out of Texas. I like to think that the committee is going to set a precedent, and who knows how long we have this structure. But I like to think the committee is going to set a precedent that you're not punished for playing in your conference championship game.
Now A&M's a three-loss team already, though.
I know, but if they just beat Texas to go and then they play a decent game against Georgia and they're a four-loss team, we just watched the two teams play.
Yeah.
I think it's that simple. It may not be, but I think it's that simple.
It's almost like if you make the Big Ten or SEC championship game, you're also in the playoff. They almost have to give you that.
That's how it feels like it's going to play out to me. And we'll see what happens in the ACC.
Yeah.
It really is like the 12 team playoff rules. I still
Yeah.
wish we were part of the picture,
I know.
but it's going to be like the debate, the discourse around this here in a couple of weeks is going to be a lot of fun.
It is. It is. I agree.
All right, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. But first,
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
and head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com and use promo code TED, TED for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Well, I wanted to go with Ashton Genty, who just crossed 2,000 yards rushing after going for 169 and 27 touchdowns. And speaking of playoff, Boise State setting themselves up for an appearance. Going to be very interesting. But I
Thing,
ended up,
things
yeah,
got things got a little interesting there in Laramie.
yeah, yep, they did.
They almost lost,
And,
but hey, they didn't. And the way with how chaotic Saturday was, hey, a win's a win, baby.
there's a lot to be said for just winning, right? Um, but I ended up settling on uh, Nebraska, who makes their first bowl appearance since 2016 with the win over Wisconsin. And uh, we needed the win over Alabama. We got a field storming, and you could tell Nebraska that they got the gorilla off the back by getting to 6 wins.
It was it was cool. Now, the field storming's a little different. Okay, a struggling Wisconsin team that just fired their offensive coordinator versus, we stormed the field after beating Big Bad Bama, and let's be real, just bullying them. But hey, I loved it. I'm a big Matt Rule fan. I was a big fan of that hire. I continue to believe that he's going to get that thing where a lot of people expect it to be. But that was that was a nice offensive performance from Nebraska. I thought Raiola looked really good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And you got to remember Dana Holgerson took over late in the year as, I mean, he was having beers at the local dive bar halfway through the season. Then he gets hired as a consultant, and then he's calling plays next week. And Raiola, true freshman, it's been an up and down year for him, and he's been a little bit banged up, but he goes out and throws for 293, has a touchdown, doesn't turn it over, no interceptions. And I think that offense has come back alive. So happy for those guys. He has some really nice throws in this game.
Matt Rule as head coach and Dana Holgerson as OC. What a dynamic staff.
I mean, those are about the two most opposite people that you could find, aren't they?
I love it. I have to assume he's going to be the OC there moving forward.
I, yeah, I would imagine.
I mean, they went out and almost had 500 yards of offense and scored 44 points.
Yeah, in a game that they had to have. So I don't know. That was awesome to see. Congratulations to Nebraska. Now, I already saw some people. Uh, there's 3 teams that got bowl eligible this week. Oklahoma did, Nebraska did. So it's like, hey, there's a nice little setup there for a bowl game. But USC also got bowl eligible. So you could have an interesting little find a way to make what would not be a very good bowl game have some serious storylines.
Sign me up for either of those.
Yep, I agree.
I think if OU fans had their pick, it'd be OU USC.
Oh yeah.
Especially if the Sooners go out and play well in Baton Rouge.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, hey, bring
Oh,
them on.
yeah.
Let's do this. Let's tango, boys. But I would love OU Nebraska in a bowl game. That'd be awesome. Sign me up.
Be awesome. Yep, that'd be cool. So some options there for sure, but very good deal by Nebraska. Good game by Raiola. That was awesome to see.
I love Holgerson. such a such an awesome character. I love that guy.
He's a wild dude.
Who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
BYU. Arizona State gets the win. Storm the field. Oh wait, there's a second left on the clock. BYU gets the ball and they have a Hail Mary attempt, and oh my gosh, they just come up a few yards short. I watching that unfold, and I didn't see it live. Well, I kind of saw it live, but I had to see what all happened later, and you had to know that Dillingham was like, oh my God, this is going to be one of those situations that everyone talks about forever, right? Storm the field. Oh, wait, get everyone off. There's 1 second left. Hail Mary touchdown to lose it, right?
He's sitting there like getting interviews like, no way. No way. He was so
losing his mind right there. The officials trying to watch the replay. There's people all around. Dillingham screaming at him. What a chaotic ending to that football game. But I think the real problem is the Big 12 standings. So, talking about the playoff and all the teams that are still in the hunt, well, there's a potential scenario where there's 8 teams in the Big 12 that are still in the playoff hunt. There's some chaos that can occur where 8 teams are still mathematically have a chance to make the Big 12 championship, and you win that game, you're in the playoff, baby. So this is what you want. You want a bunch of fan bases at the end of the season still feeling like they have a shot to get in, right?
Absolutely. And when OU and Texas left, I feel like we all thought, hey, the Big 12, there may not be, and I've said this before, and I still believe it. I don't think a Big 12 team's ever going to win the national championship in football again. But that doesn't mean it can't be the most entertaining conference in the country. And it has absolutely been that and the most fun to gamble on.
The
You
great the funniest thing about it though is we all thought there was going to be a really competitive and a bunch of teams that have a chance to win it. But I didn't think like the 2 teams that I thought had the best chance have a combined one conference win between the two of them with Utah and Oklahoma State. And Arizona State and BYU are the 2 teams at the top. Did not see that.
and let's not forget Arizona, all the momentum from a year ago, and I know they lost their head coach, but you had
The best players
Fafita.
coming back.
Yeah, there was all this momentum like, hey, watch out for Arizona Big 12. They're 2-6 in conference play. There are what? There are 4 teams that are tied at 6-2.
Yep,
You also have 5 more teams that are 5-3 right behind them.
correct.
I mean, it has just been the definition of parity in that league. It's been a lot of fun. And Ted, explain all the scenarios. Explain all how many. There's got to be like 1,000 scenarios. How many scenarios are there?
No idea. No,
256,
two fifty.
512. I don't know. Just
I
make up a number.
Yeah, there's a 1,043
Oh,
uh
okay.
different scenarios that can take place. Um I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in all the different scenarios, but I know it's chaos. But I know that what you want is going into the last game of the season, 8 teams in a conference still have the chance to win the conference and still have a chance to make the college football playoff. You can't ask for anything more than that.
I don't know if it's the best thing for getting multiple teams into the playoff, but I don't care. It's
And I don't
fun.
and I don't think that like for the big like maybe for the SEC or the Big 10, it's a nightmare scenario, but for the Big 12, it's perfect because for quite a while no one's really thought that they were a threat to get multiple teams in, right? And if you feel like you're going to be a one bid conference, you want everyone with the chance late.
Arizona State has Arizona. BYU's got Houston. Iowa State's got K State. And Colorado has Oklahoma State. From what I understand, if all 4 of those teams win, it's Arizona State versus Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game. If that doesn't happen, I have no clue what it is. None.
Crazy. Iowa State is they're still fighting. They're still right there. It's a 9-2 football team. They lost those 2 back-to-back games against Tech and Kansas, and it's like, well, it was fun, Iowa State. See you later. But I mean, they've got essentially a. I don't know if it's necessarily an elimination game or not, but it's them and K State, Farmageddon to end the season. A couple of really good teams. We'll see.
All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first, Lucy Breakers are 100% pure nicotine pouches with an extra burst of flavor, and you can get them delivered right to your front door, people. Go to lucy.co and use promo code breakdown at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's lucy.co and use promo code breakdown. My go to Lucy Breakers, 4 milligrams in mint. Love them. Perfect for on the golf course. Pop one in, walking the dogs now. It's become a bit of a routine. But I know some of y'all are a little more hardcore, want those 8 milligram breakers. Lucy Breakers come in a variety of flavors, including classics like mint, but they also come in berry, citrus, espresso, and mango. You can even set up a subscription to make things extremely convenient for you. Level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co and use promo code breakdown for 20% off your first order. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. For my winner of the weekend, give me the SMU Ponies.
Shoo.
Hell of a season, man. I mean,
10-1.
hell of a season. Went to Charlottesville and just smacked Virginia to move to 10-1, which officially secured them a spot in the ACC title game. We'll see if they play Clemson or Miami in that game, but they're undefeated in ACC play. Let's not forget, huge, massive change for this program in the offseason. Those boosters got together and said, hey, we're going to the ACC, baby. We're writing the check. They won the American last year, and now they got every chance to win the ACC this year in their first year in the conference. And if you have not watched Kevin Jennings play quarterback, highly recommend. This dude is fun, and he does some things. He does some things that are I assure you, his quarterback coach is not coaching him to do, Ted. But it's just he's really, really entertaining to watch. He's an excellent athlete. He's got a really nice arm, and he doesn't mind taking a chance with the ball. He'll scramble around and buy all kinds of time, and then all of a sudden just whip it back into the middle of the field, and you're going, oh my gosh, don't do that. And then, hey, one of those fast dudes they have at wide receivers making a play for him. So, what a year for Rhett Lashley in this program, man. And they gave Lashley another contract extension. He's not going anywhere.
No, I don't think SMU's going anywhere. I mean, when you look at the ACC, okay, you've got your typical names. You got Clemson, you got Miami, and you got Florida State. Florida State, they've got the state of Florida. Miami's got the state of Florida. Clemson is located to have, kind of the southeast of the United States recruiting wise. SMU's perfect location. They got the state of Texas. All right. They have a ton of great football players within 50 miles of their campus. And SMU has a lot of cash and a lot of rich alumni. So if it starts to look like, hey, SMU is a legit competitive team at the top, like a playoff contender year in, year out, I can see the money pouring in to that school to become competitive.
Some autograph signings at Highland Park Village.
No big deal.
Me Casina. Maybe something at Shug's Bagels right there next to the stadium. Oh, I love that bagel place. It's so good. We need one in Oklahoma City bad, man. Good.
It's a cool spot. We practiced there whenever we played in the Cotton Bowl in 2001. We used their facilities. It's in a cool spot. I mean, I'm sure it's all been upgraded since then, but just kind of the location is awesome.
Is there anything stopping them from being consistently good? It's going to be very difficult for them to consistently win recruiting battles over Texas and OU and Texas A&M. But if the money's right, man, they're going to get some guys.
Well,
and
yeah.
It seems like their alumni, now that they're experiencing success and now that Rhett Lashley appears to be locked in for the long haul, they a fan base that has not cared much about football appears to be starting to care about football.
You insert yourself into the playoff, things can change really quickly, right? Especially whenever you got the money to back it up. I mean, the only thing that's stopping them, Clemson, Miami, or Florida State, I mean, they are, and I think that they can easily put themselves on level footing with those teams pretty quickly. The way it's trended with those schools.
And we'll even see how long are two or maybe all three of those going to be in the ACC. Let's not
Yeah.
forget there's still that whole thing looming. But bottom line is SMU, good football team. That defense, they just dominated Virginia. I think it was like 9 sacks. But really fun to watch. You've got your coach locked in. Like you mentioned, Ted, they're in a great recruiting area. I don't know. It feels like things are headed in a very positive direction for the ponies.
Yeah. You think they win the ACC?
No.
Miami?
Yes. Cam Ward. D line.
So you don't think they can't get in as a two-loss team, right?
Can they? With Ole Miss losing, with where A&M's sitting, I thought after Indiana lost, I thought, hey, it's 4, maybe 5 SEC teams. And then the day unfolded the way that it did. I thought going into Saturday, I thought the ACC was a one bid league. Whoever wins the title game. Now it's probably still a one bid league. But if SMU and Miami play an absolute classic and SMU loses on the last drive of the game or something like that, could they sneak in as the 12 seed? Yep. It wouldn't shock me. There would only be a 2-loss football team.
Yeah.
Are you going to put a 4-loss SEC team in, a 3-loss SEC team in over them? I don't know.
Maybe. I guess, well, the reason I was asking you that is, and maybe it's not this scenario, but if they knew, let's say they already had another loss, but they had already locked up a ACC championship game appearance. They still have Cal. What I'm asking is, are we going to see teams rest people in a final game? If you know what I'm saying, kind of like you see in the NFL late. Any chance something like that starts to happen? Or
Nothing would
is
shock me.
winning games still too big of a deal in college football? How many win total you had?
I think winning still trumps everything. And the ability to finish your season 11-1, that's a big deal, man. At
Yeah,
SMU, you kidding
I
me?
agree. I agree.
But I hear what you're saying.
I think in the future, whenever everything moves, no one's going to remember bowl games or really even conference. The thing that's going to be remembered is playoff appearances. Like
If
everything else is,
SMU, if they had another loss, I think Rhett Lashley and his staff would have to seriously consider the approach they took to the Cal game.
yeah,
But with it only being one loss, and you have to stay at one loss to give yourself as many chances to
yeah,
get into the playoff with the
I
ACC
agree.
championship game. But I completely agree. If they had one more loss, there's no doubt I think that would be a conversation they would have. Like, hey, what gives us the best chance to make the playoff?
Mm-hmm.
And whether that'll make a lot of people upset, I don't think they probably wouldn't really care. It's how do we make the playoff?
Right. Yeah. It's interesting.
My loser of the weekend, Colorado. Had it all in front of them. Big 12 title game, college football playoff. They just didn't know they were going to get Devin Neal at Arrowhead. Kansas Kansas is the team in the Big 12 no one wants to play right now.
No kidding. I, I'm so shocked as to why they weren't the team no one wanted to play the entire year.
I I'm sure Lance Leipold would like answers as well, but they put it together, man. And they're just destroying people's hopes and dreams in the Big 12 right now. And the Colorado offense didn't play particularly bad in this game. The fact the Colorado defense could not stop Kansas. In fact, let's take a look at the Kansas drive chart. 6 plays touchdown, 13 plays field goal, 8 plays touchdown, 8 plays field goal, 12 plays field goal, 10 plays touchdown, 14 plays touchdown, and to end the game, the last 6:22 of the game, 10 plays. And that was it. No punts. Had the ball for 40 minutes.
Only 8 drives, and they scored on every one of them except for the run out the clock. Wow.
Colorado's defense, who they haven't been great, but they've been solid, had no answers for Jalen Daniels and certainly no answers for Devin Neal. 37 carries for 207, 3 rushing touchdowns, 4 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. The dude was balling, Ted.
Woo. What a game.
Colorado offense was okay. Shedeur Sanders was all right. I'm glad his knees are okay. My gosh.
Jeez, that was crazy. How that didn't just fold his knees backwards, I have no idea. Like a blind missile shot to the kneecaps at full speed. Whew.
It's a product of guys not being afraid of getting ejected for targeting.
Yeah.
Maybe you could say, I don't know his intentions. Could you say, hey, yeah, he was trying to hurt him? Okay. I can't prove that that's not what he was trying to do. But it's one of those where he's like, guys aim low now. That's what they do. Now, that's a penalty in the NFL. And should it be a penalty in college? Should we protect quarterbacks a little more in college? I don't know. But I'm just glad he's all right.
Is that a penalty in the NFL outside the pocket? He was outside the pocket, right?
If that happens to Patrick Mahomes, I don't know the exact rule. A flag is being thrown, brother.
If that happens to Patrick Mahomes, there's going to be a missing persons alert for whoever did it.
Exactly. But Travis Hunter, I mean, he did what he does. 8 for 125, 2 touchdowns. Now, he did get picked by an official when he was at corner one time, and it was hilarious. But we talked about the standing situation in the Big 12. I mean, it just feels like Colorado, they were right there, Ted, and just couldn't take care of business against Kansas, who was playing really, really good football. And the only other thing about this game is who's going to win the Heisman Trophy? I don't think Travis Hunter hurt his chances at all in this, but with the way that Milroe played,
Dart,
the way that the last 2 drives of that game went, Ewers has not been. I mean, he's not even a candidate in my mind. Is Dylan Gabriel going to backdoor his way into a Heisman Trophy?
I mean, that would be crazy, just because it's like Oregon played Ohio State, and I don't even remember anything else they've done this year other than that game. It's just been like a non-eventful season for them. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Ashton Genty felt like he was going to be a great candidate at one point, but it just seems like some of that star has faded, even though he just went over 2,000 yards rushing. I mean, it doesn't feel like
he has 27 touchdowns.
27 touchdowns. It doesn't feel like he's got that type of momentum right now, though, you know?
One receiving touchdown, so 28 touchdowns for Genty. But I guess it's still going to be Travis Hunter. Can you recall ever feeling this way about the Heisman? I don't know. It just
Not
feels.
really.
Should they just not give it out this year? Like that's kind of how it feels to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's really the only guy that continues to get the hype, but even his hype is weird because he's not the best receiver in the country. And a lot of people would argue he's not the best corner in the country. But he does both. So does that default make you the best player in the I don't know, it's just, even his situation is weird. Like I get it. I understand why he's up for it, but I mean even what he's got and they're now a 3-loss football team, which isn't everything, but it's something. Well, it's weird. I know. The answer is no. I don't remember of time.
If I had to bet money, I'd still bet on him.
Yeah.
But Cam Ward, I don't know. Like it, I usually feel like I have a good sense of who the finalists are going to be, and that's even kind of a struggle for me right now.
There's probably going to be a bunch of 5 or 6 finalists.
No, they never bring that many guys. I
They bring 5. I remember having 5 before, right?
I would love for it to just be 5 every year. Just
Yeah.
give me 5. That way, it's weird that the number changes for me, but I don't know. It just feels like the one of the strangest Heisman Trophy races we've seen in a long time.
Greg McElroy was on, and he was talking about Chris Paul, the linebacker for Ole Miss. Like that's how there's not someone that is like sticking out to say easy candidate right here. I don't know. It's weird.
College football, baby.
Love it.
It's the best. It's the best. We're so much happier when OU wins.
It's a totally different. I'm living on a different planet right now.
I know when things start going poorly, it's natural. I think some fans check out of the pod a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to welcome you back.
We're back, baby.
We're back, baby.
Back. I know
Oh,
things are good whenever I'm actually looking forward to the Monday Night Rudy show,
oh,
because it's usually like, oh my gosh, I have to go sit there with Venables and ask him a bunch of questions about the loss and how horrible it was. And well, what do we do now? Uh, it's going to be awesome.
birthday shout outs. Welcome to the world, Ruben Averick Mads Stringfellow.
All
Wow.
right. What a name. Happy 7th birthday to Blakely Kentner.
Happy 8th birthday to Genevieve DeMay.
Happy 46th birthday to Mecca Freeman.
Happy 50th birthday to Brad Fry. And happy 77th birthday to Cheryl Guston. On that note, episode 477 in the books. Ted, fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
I think the website's going to be done this week.
Ooh.
We're going to get a sneak
Okay.
peek of it soon.
Sweet.
We will update you accordingly. Just a reminder, it's not like a subscription site or anything. It's just like all of our stuff in one spot. It's supposed to be very helpful for us and make things easy for you.
There you go.
And it's cool. It's cool to have a website. That's what podcasts do these days, I suppose. I'm excited for it, man. It's gonna be
I'm
cool.
too.
We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. Just a reminder. Or should we drop one on Tuesday since it's Thanksgiving week? What do you think?
Sure.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. It'll be there, people. We'll preview LSU. Hope you guys. I can't imagine you're just not going to have an incredible week.
Enjoy it.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do we always do, Oklahoma? Take care of each other.